Welcome back to 5 Horrible Minutes on Hellbent for Horror. Yes, this is 5 questions, 5 minutes. God help us all. We'll see what ends up happening. My guest today on 5 Horrible Minutes is Rakefet Abergel, horror fan and a writer of the short horror film Jackson Love, which was a finalist at the Women in Horror Film Festival last year. So I thought it'd be fun to start talking to some of the artists who were there before, who are horror fans. So Rakefet, thanks so much for being on.
Thank you for having me.
So let's hit right into these 5 horrible questions. So tell us a little bit about your movie, Jackson Love.
Well, my short, I never thought it was a horror, but it turns out that it is. I wrote it because I used to be a stand-up comedian. Sometimes I still do it. I do a lot of comedy, Disney, Nickelodeon, and I was like getting kind of pigeonholed into this box, and I decided to write like something that I felt was really dark and different for me to do in a role that I would never, ever get cast in because I just wouldn't. And I wanted to show that I could. So it's about a girl who's lonely. She's looking for love and kind of goes about it in a very unhealthy way.
So do you find, since you're a stand-up comedian, and I know that it's anathema to try and define comedy or anything like that, but do you feel that there's a connection between horror and comedy? I've always thought that there was a timing thing, at least.
Yeah, I think for sure the timing thing, because like just like with comedy, you know, if you don't hit the right notes or you don't hit the right beats in horror, it's not scary, or it comes off either. Like there was a lot of things in my film that I had to cut because it came off a little too funny. There's definitely some comedy in there for sure because I can't help myself. But I didn't want it to come off as like a spoof or some kind of horror comedy. So I had to really be careful about timing of things to make it not that way. So I think there's definitely a correlation between the two.
Now we're going to get into a little bit of horror. On my show, the listeners are used to hearing me talk about The First Kiss. And The First Kiss is the movie that kind of hooked you into a lifetime of ill-begotten horror movies. So what was your first kiss?
I probably have more first bad dates than first kisses. But for me, I think it was actually at Nightmares Film Festival, which was, I think, the second festival I went to. And it was, because before that, every horror film just scared the hell out of me. And I was like, nope. But it was the shorts, like the short films. I would say it was probably, I don't know. Michael Foster directed this short called Hush. And he knows I'm like a rabid fan of it now, but that might be my first kiss, to be honest. It was like, I was just like, wow, like it's so smart. And I guess I never really looked at horror as smart, and it is, especially now because it's changing a lot because people are changing the way they make the films in the genre. But it was smart and it creeped me out, and I didn't see the end coming. And I guess it's along the lines of like most of the psychological thrillers I've seen in my past are more my horror, like my subgenre of horror that I really like M. Night Shyamalan stuff. And I don't know if that's horror really, but horror light, I don't know.
Yeah, I have a very wide door that I allow horror into.
Yeah, Jax, I mean, I had to ask people, like, I don't know if I can submit this in the horror genre. And they were like, you can. And I was like, I don't know. I always thought of horror as my first bad date, which was The Shining. Like, nope. That's the one that to me, that's horror. And too horrific. And Child's Play. That was the first one.
Oh, yeah.
As a child. You don't want to see that as a child when you hate horror movies. Like, I still can't look at his face. Like, it's terrifying.
Tom Holland, the director, is overjoyed that you just said that.
Oh, and I keep running into him in festivals, and I want to be like, you ruined my child. No, it scared me.
So out of those movies, you may have already answered this, but I like to ask, people tend to think of horror in either the thing that they love or the thing that they hate. And that's how they define it. Either they're going to love it or they're going to hate it. What movie scene flashes in your mind when you hear the word horror?
For me, it's from The Shining, and it's the two little girls standing in the hallway, come play with us or whatever it is. And the word red rum, I like to this day, like I can't hear it. Like if somebody creepily like says to me, I'll lose my mind. And I always see the blood rushing out of the elevator. That whole movie, all the little scenes, like that's the movie. When I think horror, I think The Shining. That's the one.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. That is one of those highly impactful films, to say the least, for everybody. I have to laugh that you didn't think that Jack's in Love would be a horror film. It's like, your comedy must be really fucking dark.
It probably is. I don't know. I considered it like a psychological thriller, but I don't know. I didn't think that would like qualified. And there was not that much blood, nobody's arms came off.
Well, welcome to the broad world of horror, as at least I see it. Now, obviously, you have comedy in your background. You probably have a really interesting guilty pleasure movie. Most of the time when I'm talking to people who are big horror fans, their guilty pleasure is something not horror whatsoever. But
right.
What is it for you? What's the movie that you are almost embarrassed to say that you love, but you love?
Okay. Well, I thought about this, and it's it's the Twilight series.
Ah,
I love me some sparkly vampires. What can I say? I don't know. I read all the books twice. I saw all the movies, and 50 Shades is probably a close second. I don't know. I gotta love that stuff.
All right, awesome. Well, I was going to ask, what was it that really excited you about Twilight? But maybe
I liked the love triangle. I'm really into like the romance and the angst and the like have to have it now kind of a feeling. I'm a teenager still. Like I'm
right.
6 forever. That's just me.
It doesn't change, believe me.
No.
No, the only thing that changes is how it feels when you wake up. That's the only difference.
That's true. Your body feels different, but the rest of it's the same.
Right. So, Rakefet, thank you so much for answering the 5 questions. Tell us where people can see Jack's in Love. It's on the theater, the circuit right now for festivals, correct?
Yes.
Where can they see it?
At the moment, I don't know because we're waiting for the next festivals to like accept or not accept. I do know we're waiting on like at least 70. I submitted to a lot of festivals.
Wow.
So we are waiting on some. I'm sure there will be more screenings. I'm planning on doing a couple like VIP screenings in LA, maybe at these like friends' mansions that I have screening rooms and stuff like that. I was trying to do little things like that. But hopefully by next year, it'll be somewhere online, like not illegally, hopefully.
Of course.
Yeah.
Where can people contact you if they want to keep up with your work?
Well, you can visit jacksonlove.com and you can watch trailers and see behind the scenes and all that stuff. We're also going to release like a behind the scenes featurette that we made later on. And you can contact me via the website or on Twitter or on Facebook. I'm literally everywhere. If you search Rakefet Abergel or Jackson Love, you'll find me for sure.
Okay. Well, Rakefet, thank you so much once again for being here, and stay hell-bent if you can.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome.